Hello friends, my name is Theo, and today in this very exciting continuation of our 15 days of DaVinci 15, we're hopping back into Fusion and we're going to take a look at some very cool stuff. Lots of good fundamentals are going to be illustrated here. We're going to be creating a super zoom transition effect. All the kids like these. They're very fun, I guess. Oh, also, real quick before I forget, MeSteamU.com/products, type in the code Resolve15 for 15% off while this 15 days of DaVinci 15 is going on. Okay, here we go. So we've got our two clips in our edit page, and we've got them overlapping a little bit. So we're going to transition from this clip. We're going to super zoom out into this clip. Very cool. So we've got a couple frames overlap. I think there's about 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. 12 frames of overlap. And the first thing that we're going to do is we need to be able to access both of these clips simultaneously at the same time inside of Fusion. And the easiest way to do that is to just click and drag over them to select them both. Right click, new Fusion clip. And there we go. Now these are both in one, so nothing changes in our edit page. There's still no magic super zoom transition. So we'll save real quick because Fusion has a tendency to crash in the beta, which is fine. It's a beta, but now we will hop into Fusion. And you can see right away we are greeted with a little bit different page than normal. We've got these two media in nodes that are already merged together for us. So media in 1, this is our second clip, and then media in 2 is our first clip. So we can go ahead and rename these, and you can either right click and go to rename, or you can hit F2. So this will be clip 1, very descriptive, hit F2, clip 2, just like on Windows. All right, so if you've created a super zoom transition before, you know that we're going to need a sort of reptile-ish effect from many of the Adobe applications. I'm sure there are clones of this all over the place, but basically what it does is clone this image around a couple different ways. So flip it over here and up there and down there, and we are going to go through all of the tedious process of making this effect ourselves because I haven't been able to find anything built in. But then luckily, because Fusion is so cool, you can go ahead and save it as a macro. So you see I may or may not have already done this, and then you can just use it whenever. So I'll just show you what we're going to do real quick, and then, or the result, and then we'll go ahead and do it. So real quick so I can see. It's going to drop in a little transform node here. We'll use it later anyway. Shift drag to drop it on there. I'll scale this down a little bit so you can right away see what's going to happen. So if I add in the thing that I already made, which once again we will remake, but I just want to show you that this option exists. Shift and drag this on there. See, it takes 3 inputs because I haven't really refined this guy yet. Right there, you can see that it's warping our image around itself, which is what we're going to want to use. So let's get into how to make this effect. It's pretty simple, and it's good practice for working with the way that Fusion works. So the first thing we're going to do is add a bunch of transform nodes. So hit Shift Space and then XF for transform. You can also type in transform, but you see it's got these handy little shortcuts here. So XF for transform. Drop that in, and we will need to Control C, Control V. So there's one duplicate. And then that'll get us our first 3 across, and then we need to duplicate it 2 more times. Just Control V, and that'll be our second set of cloning. So now we'll go ahead and create the next nodes that we will need. So we'll need a merge node for each of these transform nodes. So Control Space, MERG, and Shift drag this in here. Control C, Control V, 2, 3, 4. Oop, one too many. All right. So now let's disconnect these guys. We'll go ahead and put our first transform in, making sure to save often. And drop this in there, and then this guy in there. And this first transform, you'll see one of the great, fantastic, excellent things about Fusion is it works with relative offsets instead of pixel offsets. So if we were in After Effects, we would have to move our video. In this case, we would have to subtract 960 and then subtract 1080 off of it. So this value would end up being minus 1080, which would get annoying. But in this way, you can see that just the center is in half the way in our composition already. So what that means is if we just put this over to minus 0.5, that will set the center over exactly 1 composition size unit over. And then if we're doing this in 4K or 8K or 25K, our same effect will work for all those just the same. Or if we go back down to 480p, you know, who knows? Standard def could be cool. It's like the new vinyl, right? That could be a t-shirt, 480p, the new vinyl. All right, so that's in there. And now we'll go ahead and do our next transform. We will pop into that and that. And we'll do this same sort of thing, just different, and we will transform our x by 1 to the right, so this will be 1.5. And you can see that if we look at this in our left-hand side, we don't see anything because our scale is still at 1, so all of these things are off to this side of our composition. But viewing our later on stuff, you can see what we're doing. So now this is pretty good, but we want to make it a little bit more seamless. So what we can do is go back to our transforms and we can flip our horizontal dimension. And now it's got this sort of mirrored effect, which helps things blend together much better, especially on this side. Look at that. Very cool. So now we've got that going, and we'll do the exact same thing for our Y dimension, and we'll take our rows here and duplicate them instead of just our original clip. So you can take our merge node here, which will be our whole row, and then have this output into this new merge node. Let's drop that guy out of there. So this one, we will offset the Y by -0.5, and we will flip the vertical axis this time. Get our excellent mirroring going on. Save again, because you never know. And we'll do the same thing again, except not from that one. Go from our just single row merge and drop this in here. And this will be Y equals 1.5 and flip our vertical axis again. So there we go. We've got our reptile effect. So if we are transforming this away, you can see we're just rocking and rolling. So now what we're going to have to do is animate both the scale of this layer and the opacity. So we're going to blend into clip 2. And because of the way Fusion works, we can actually just use this one transform node for our scale animation, and it will automatically just scale both these clips the same, which is super duper cool. I am so into Fusion right now. Let me tell you what. So I'll go ahead and click and drag these up. Oh, I guess before I forget, we can already go ahead and make this a macro. So to make this a macro, you just select these nodes. It'd probably be good to put some sort of like a null or dummy node in this part, so it's just one input since these are all going to the same spot. So if you know of a good way of doing that, I don't know. I don't think there's an easy, no obvious null, but I'm sure that there's something that does that. Just take a little bit of searching around. So put it down in the comments and thumbs it up when you see it. But we can right click on these after they're all selected, go to macro, create new macro, and we'll call this tut reptile file save. Tut reptile. Excellent. Exit out of this, and now we can go ahead and use our same thing here. So excellent. But for now, we're just going to group this and forget about it. So right click and group. So that does the same sort of thing, just sort of cleaning it up, because this node is really only doing one thing, and that's that one effect that we created. So we've got these two things are looking much cleaner. I'll probably, if you want to like impress your girlfriend when she's over, you can just double click this, open up the group, and then, then it looks cool again. So don't be afraid. You can still show off all your nodes. So let's go ahead and do our transform animation first. So we're going to scroll through our timeline until we get to where our transition takes place. Excellent. So 58 is where this clip ends. And now let's go ahead and see the clip we're fading into. Let's go back. All right. And this starts at frame 46. All right. So our transform is going to start our animation here at frame 47, and we're just going to create a size keyframe for 1, and then scroll forward to frame 58, and we'll make this 0.333 because we have, 3 times the dimension on this side. So it'll be a nice, easy thing. So if we watch through our transition now, it's not going to look very good. We'll go ahead and set our render range to be something a little bit more reasonable and play through while this renders. Right now that's pretty bad, but we are going to go ahead and make it cooler with a couple of different ways. The first of which is we're going to make the speed not linear and boring. So we're going to do that by going up to our spline editor window, click on size, and I can see, can fit this to our window. We have this linear change. So right now it is at size 1, and then just linearly goes down, which is super boring. What I want to do instead is make this real snappy. So a really easy thing to do for these transitions is to just extend the Bezier handle out to basically the start keyframe. And this will be a good way of keeping them even, so our snappiness is right in the middle where the transition happens. So right about there is looking good for that one. And then we can do this same thing over here with our other one. Select this and click and drag it way over there. So now you can see this is going to be really, really snappy, which is what we want. So it plays through and boom. Nice. That's much cooler. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is fade between these two. So I'm going to do that by going over to our merge node here. And we're going to scroll forward to about where this transition starts to get interesting at a snappier point. And we're going to go over to this tab. We've got our blend control, and we're going to add a little keyframe. And then scroll forward to the end of the snappy bit and blend this down to 0. Excellent. And now you can see we have our other layer revealed. It's very excellent, but it's too small. Luckily, Fusion's very smart, and we can just scale it up beforehand, and it will still end up working out. So we've got this clip. We will add another transform, XF for transform, shift drag this on, and we can scale this up to 3. I guess a little bit less. Oh, we're not done with the transition, so it'll even out. There we go, and it fits perfectly right in there. Beautiful. So we have our effect done. The only other thing you'll want to do is add motion blur eventually, but that has been consistently crashing my computer, or not my computer, but that has been consistently crashing my version of Fusion. But in order to get that, you just go over here, you click on motion blur, and that will make it look 1,000 times better. But I'm tired of having my computer crash, and I need to go to bed. So I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Another nice dive into Fusion. People like these super zoom effects. Very cool. Kids like them. All those crazy kids in their Instagram accounts. So this is a good thing to have in your back pocket if you need it. Also, just a reminder, this is a continuation of my 15 days of Davinci Resolve 15 tutorial series. So we're doing 15 straight days of Davinci Resolve and I guess Fusion and Fairlight tutorials. It's all the same thing now. It's homogeneous. It's great. It makes things useful. I'm super excited about it. But what that means is you should definitely leave a comment down below saying things you want to see, and subscribe to the channel so you are up to date on stuff, and do the little bell notifying thing, you know, because that's important or something. I don't know. I'm bad at internet. Also, speaking of being bad at internet, check out meisnermedia.com/products, where you can type in Resolve 15 at checkout for 15% off your entire order of all sorts of cool stuff. Who knows what you could get? You could get LUTs, you could get not LUTs. Those are basically the only two options. So, I mean, that's easy to do. Malcolm Gladwell, spaghetti sauce, options, etc. Once again, I've been Theo with Meisner Media. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.